Everyone knows that feeling, wanting to experience more stories, but struggling to find the time. That's where Audible changes everything. With over 1 million audiobooks and Audible originals, there's a story waiting to spark anyone's imagination. Take The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, the gripping psychological thriller that's keeping listeners on the edge of their seats. Imagine unraveling its mysteries during your morning commute, or losing yourself in its twists and turns while doing household chores. That's the magic of Audible. It transforms daily routines into opportunities for thrilling discoveries. The best part? Members get access to thousands of included titles, with new content added regularly. From bestsellers to hidden gems, every genre imaginable is at their fingertips. And with one easy-to-use app, switching between favorites or discovering new passions has never been simpler. There's more to imagine when you listen. Start a free 30-day Audible trial and get your first audiobook free at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
Don't ask me to talk.
And we're back. Welcome to another edition of Don't Ask Me to Talk. I'm Eric Ryder.
I'm Stacey Heller.
We're your podcast pals.
We are. And
the
hey,
Combo
pal,
Kids.
It's so good to be back in studio.
Yeah, the Combo Kids right again.
Uh-huh. I mean,
welcome back from
you.
the hellish desert lands of Sedona, Arizona.
You mean the sunny and warm?
We're sunny and warm. That is, that's a different level of sunny
Okay,
and warm.
but it wasn't.
That's oven.
It wasn't there yet. Like, I think that's their summer.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like, it was in the 70s. It could feel like the 80s in the afternoon.
If you're going to go, it seems like February is a good time to go.
Yeah, I invited myself back. We'll see how it went.
Smart. Now,
I left a little present, so it's like a bribe.
I'm taking a trip to Vegas in April, and I'm a little worried that that's already going to be on the edge of, the surface of the sun kind of style heat. Yeah.
Hey, you know what I learned? I took a Jeep tour while I was there because, when you go someplace that's new, there is something to be said for like the whole hop on, hop off type tourist experience, right? And so I decided to take myself on this Jeep tour with a bunch of other people. That could be a weekly sitcom, by the way. But I learned that the guy that was Michael, that was guiding the tour, was talking about how personal injury attorneys did some, study that showed that the number 2 area that has the most accidents is this strip of highway in Sedona because of how stunningly beautiful and distracting the rock formations and the vistas are. And the number 1 is Vegas. See, I tied in Sedona and Vegas. That's where I was going with that.
Number 1 is
Vegas, the strip.
Because it's distracting.
Because it's totally distracting.
Yeah.
And so there's tons. So that's the number 1 spot where people get into accidents. And then the number 2.
Because of the scenic beauty.
Yes.
Of neon advertising.
Yes. Those that water show at the Bellagio, It's like, holy cow.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that's so interesting. You're headed to Vegas. I was in Sedona, the number 1 and 2 spots for accidents.
Yeah. Hey, coincidentally, just going to jump ahead to my cultural blind spot segment because I just happened to watch yet another 007 movie.
Oh, which one
James
this
Bond
time?
Movie. And this was because I just stumbled across it on the streaming and I said, yeah, what the hell? Diamonds Are Forever, the last of the canon James Bond movies with Sean Connery.
Now the last or like the last before he came back last?
He came back for this one.
Okay.
Because they replaced him with George Lazenby.
For that one that you watched.
Yeah. And he came back for this one. They gave him a bunch of money, and he decided to do it. But years later, he came back as Old Man Bond and did Never Say Never. But that wasn't even with the same company.
Right.
So that was kind of like a standalone, offshoot kind of thing. But in this one, he actually goes to Vegas in it. which is what
Oh.
reminded me of this. And that was
Not
just
like Monte Carlo or something?
no.
Vegas. That
Yeah.
seems so campy for him.
It is. And you know what? I got to say, I think this is the my favorite of the Bond movies that I've seen so far.
Really?
And my favorite Connery one because it is ridiculously campy.
Okay, so you said it's streaming right now, so I can
It is,
find
yes.
it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch this.
It's hilarious, hilariously goofy, and just seeing like the scenery of places that I've been to is fun.
Well, yeah, time. It's like a
yeah.
time capsule.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's fun seeing old Vegas. By old Vegas, I mean the 70s, before they had all the the buildup that they've had now.
Totally.
There's no Egyptian pyramids or statues of liberty or anything like that. It's old school,
Right.
where they still have gangsters doing diamond smuggling, apparently, which is why James Bond is there.
Is this the only movie where he came to America?
No, he was here in Goldfinger as well, because that was
okay.
there was a Fort Knox heist. In that
okay,
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But this thing is off the rails campy. He goes into a military installation at one point, steals a moon rover, and busts out
Oh my!
with a moon rover, and they chase him with ATVs. Yeah, there's some really fun stuff in this. A third movie in a row to feature Blofeld as the villain.
Bad guy?
in
Okay.
it. Yeah. And again, a whole nother actor playing Blofeld.
That's the third time, right?
That's the third time. And in this one, he's having other people made up to look like him with plastic surgery. He's making duplicates, basically.
So do you think this is his way of like? Do you think this is the filmmaker's way of being like, yeah, that's why he looks different all the time?
I would think so, but they never hint that he actually got surgery. Only that his doubles got the surgery to look like him.
Okay.
So it's like they had the germ of the idea of explaining Blofeld looking entirely different from each movie, and then they decided to just pave over that and make doubles of him instead. So completely not explaining to the audience the continuity problem. But and so at the beginning he kills Blofeld, or what he thinks is Blofeld. Then turns out later
So
it wasn't the real
Blofeld is
dude.
going to live to see another day.
See, we don't know at the end of this movie because, again, he doesn't bother to see that he's dead.
He's got to go get his martini.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't know. He could have escaped, or he could be dead at this point. They leave it up in the air, I guess, so he could die another day, so to speak.
Different movie.
Yes. Well,
Blofeld is forever,
yes.
and so are diamonds. Interesting.
But some fun stuff in this, like you get to see Circus.
Oh my gosh.
At its height. I guess now it's a little bit more downhill, but at the time, it was it was really going full thrust.
Interesting.
And I remember Circus from being a kid because I used to live in Reno, Nevada, which is like a mini Vegas. Yeah. And so going to Circus was a real treat. And it was really cool that they had like circus shows and they had like a carnival style games and stuff. So it was fun to see like the Vegas version of that at its height of quality, which apparently it is not that now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I feel like it's gone downhill.
Yeah. But so anyway, I give a big thumbs up to this movie if you're embracing the campy side of James Bond. This one.
That feels redundant.
Well, I feel like they just went full over the top goofy in this, whereas the others were trying to be serious, but were campy just because of, ineptitude, maybe.
Well,
This
yeah.
feels like they're like, okay, well, it's got to be campy regardless of what we do. So let's just fully embrace that. But also, there's a big scene on the Vegas Strip where he has to like drive a Mustang because he's in America. He doesn't have his Aston Martin, and he's doing some stunt driving that's pretty impressive. And then basically, when they shot this thing, like all the extras are just standing there, like watching the whole thing, like, "Hey, a James Bond movie has just broke out." But it works because that's what tourists would be doing anyway.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look at this.
Yeah, look at this car going crazy on the strip
Crazy.
here.
Those personal injury attorneys are right.
Right?
It's a zoo out here.
Yeah.
Okay, I looked this up because I needed to know. So, the most reoccurring antagonist in the franchise, Blofeld, appears or is heard in 3 novels and 8 films.
8 films. Okay, wow.
From Russia with Love, Thunderball, You Only Live Twice,
Right, okay.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Diamonds Are Forever.
Right.
And then weirdly, For Your Eyes Only, Spectre,
Yep.
No Time to Die, the latter 2 films are set in a rebooted continuity, which started with Casino Royale.
So the whole thing with this is they've got multiple chances to kill Bond. Blofeld does. And he basically is just like, it's like the Austin Powers thing.
Or Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah, where they're just like, we're like, you know, in Austin Powers where he's Scott Evil, the son of Dr. Evil. It's just like, why don't you just shoot him? You know, instead of putting him through all these traps or whatever. And he's like, I've got a gun in my room. I'll go get it right now. And it's the same thing in the actual Bond movies. They put him in a elevator that gasses him, and then they take him out to the desert and put him in a sewer pipe. Instead of just shooting him and dumping him in a dumpster.
Well,
And Bond has multiple chances to kill Blofeld, and instead just, you know, toys with him, basically.
it's a cat and mouse game.
It is a cat and mouse game. So they realize they need each other, apparently.
It reminds me of my kid's favorite movie was The Emperor's New Groove. You would actually like that one. It's like David Spade is in it, I think, and John Goodman. And there's this scene with like the bad witch or whatever she is. And she's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to like make a spell and I'm going to turn him into a fly and I'm going to put him in a box and then I'm going to ship him. And like she does this whole thing. And then at the end, she's like, or I could smash him and save on postage.
Right.
Like, this is like, I could do this and then I could do that and I could do that. Or you could just shoot him and save. But then there wouldn't be a story.
Right. Or they could get some other villain.
Well, they could, but
Yeah.
I mean, were those written? Like, I mean, they're all in theory based on the books, right?
Yeah. And some go a little bit closer to the novels than others. And some take some real liberties. But apparently some of the stuff in the books is maybe a little bit not appropriate to today's modern sensibilities. So,
I don't know what you
yes.
mean. Like that time that he went undercover as a Japanese person?
Well, that was in the movie.
But,
yeah,
like,
but in the book,
generally-
there's stuff that's a little more controversial than that, I think. Yes.
Sure. Speaking of movies, the Academy Awards happened
Absolutely.
this past week.
Yeah. Did you happen to catch the award ceremony?
I watched it on mute. I was at work.
Okay.
And so I was aware, like, oh, somebody just won. Or
Uh-huh.
like, oh, look, there's singing happening. I heard, per usual, mixed reviews, right? But more importantly, did you see any of the movies that were nominated,
I was
let
just-
alone won?
Oh, well. Yeah, I have actually seen a couple of the movies, which
Hey.
I rarely have seen any of the movies that get nominated for Best Picture before the Academy Awards. Typically, I'll see one or two after that. But this year, I happen to have seen Conclave, which we talked about here on the show.
Yep.
And I also saw Dune Part 2, which was great. I saw
Okay.
that in the theater. And was pleasantly surprised that that movie was nominated for Best Picture because I thought it was really great. But a big budget movie like that often gets snubbed by the Academy because they think it's not serious enough or something. I don't know. But so I was happy to see that it was nominated, did not win. The movie that won was Anora, which I think I had seen the trailer for before the Academy Awards, and it just did not appeal to me in any way. It just seemed like nothing I could relate to. I mean, I guess it's like a romantic comedy adventure thing with like a stripper and the son of a Russian
Sex worker,
oligarch. Yeah.
You don't relate to that?
No, it really didn't. But,
Okay.
and also, I felt like the trailer actively made it look bad. You know, it's a tough thing to make a trailer reflect a movie but not give away too much of it. But now that it's won Best Picture, I think I may have to check this out because I'm not so egotistical or think that my own opinion is so amazing that they must be wrong, everybody that selected this as Best Picture. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'll think that it's the Best Picture afterwards, but there's got to be something to it.
Sure.
Otherwise, it wouldn't have won. So I think I may have to check that out.
Although maybe it's like Conclave and it's very political.
Yeah, maybe, which is fine.
Yeah. But still, yeah.
So
I mean,
had you seen any of these?
So
And we'll
Conclave, yes.
Yeah.
Dune, no.
Okay.
Was A Complete Unknown nominated?
A Complete Unknown,
I saw
oddly
that.
enough, was nominated.
I saw, I want to say 2/3 of A Real Pain.
Okay, not nominated.
Oh, okay. But that's what Kieran Culkin won for
okay.
his supporting actor Oscar. What are the other ones?
Okay, so Anora won, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown.
The Brutalist is apparently like 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's actually got an intermission.
Which is crazy. I read about
You
it.
need a bathroom break.
Well, no, that's not the part that's crazy. The fact that it's so long. I read an article about it actually earlier today about what it was about, and it's very interesting, and it seems to be an amalgamation of it's not a true story, but there's, sort of ripped from the headlines aspects of this. So that's sort of interesting.
Ripped from the headlines, but it's set in like the 50s.
Right.
So,
yes.
so not today's headlines.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. But, it's, this person and a similar situation to this, and like this actually happened, and the brutalist period in architecture and art was a real thing, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I might check that out, especially on streaming. Where I can go, okay, the intermission
2
means
bathroom breaks.
Yeah, well, the intermission means that I can say, I'll pick this up tomorrow and catch the second half. I might do that.
Right. That's true. All right. What were the other nominees?
So Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked.
I saw Wicked.
Oh, okay. So you saw a couple of these
I
too.
did.
Yeah.
I saw like 3 of them.
Yeah, between the two of us, we could be on the Academy.
Yeah. I mean,
Send us your screeners, Academy.
Yeah, I don't have my SAG card.
Well, do we need a SAG card for this? Can't we won't they just let us vote?
I don't think they will.
Come on, Academy.
It's so lame. That's the People's Choice Award, Eric.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I don't think we're the people, though.
Well, maybe we need a Damp Choice Award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say I am...
What movie from 1973 wins this year as Best Picture that we decided to revisit?
Well, I will say I'm very inspired by our cultural blind spots, and by our, I mean your kind of segment. And you had mentioned that you kind of used the AFI list of Oscar winners as sort of
a
starting
they're not
point.
necessarily Oscar winners. The
top
AFI
100.
list is the American Film Institute, and they made a list years ago of the top 100 films of all time. So as you may have guessed, Citizen Kane is top of that list.
Right. And I've never seen that.
I have seen it, and it puts me to sleep every time. I know it's considered the greatest movie of all time, but it literally just, I cannot get through it.
Interesting.
But I may have to give it another go because everybody loves it so much. But yeah, it's a list of, but there's some great stuff on there that's, more fun than that, like Singing in the Rain and Star Wars.
Yep.
Stuff like that is on there. So even if you find one of these movies a drag, there's, clearly there's quality.
Right.
And fun to be had by looking at that list.
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm always giving you a hard time. Like, I can't believe you haven't seen, Finding Nemo. But then, that's not like, canon of like movies to see. And I haven't seen a whole bunch of movies. Like, I would say more than half the time when you mention you haven't seen a movie, I'm like, well, I haven't either.
What blew me away is last time we did an episode, we talked about the cultural blind spots. And you said I made reference to The Simpsons. You said you'd never seen The Simpsons.
Nope.
Which is like the biggest cultural blind spot of all time. The show's been on for
been on the
40
air
years.
For a minute. I've never
How
seen
is
an
that
episode.
possible?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I can't even say like, oh, it's because I wouldn't let my kids watch it because this predates me having kids.
Right.
Like,
And
like,
those first 10 years are like perfect television.
I'm going to have to watch it.
Yeah.
How long would that take? That would take 20 years.
You don't have to watch. I would say after the first 10 seasons, there's really, it's not. If you're a super fan, by all means, if you're still getting enjoyment out of it, then bless you. I was a super fan until after season 10. In my mind, it went downhill. But I get endless enjoyment out of those first 10 seasons. And I tell you what, I'll pick maybe a couple episodes. And folks, if you've got Simpsons episodes you think Stacey absolutely needs to watch, then email us asking@don'taskmetotalk.com. Give us your top 2 Simpsons episodes, and we'll put those in the list for Stacey. So we'll come up with like a little playlist for you.
I love this.
Of episodes that you absolutely have to see. And then if you don't like the show after watching those, then fair enough. It's not for you. But
Okay.
I feel like it's one that you need to at least see so you get like how big an impact it made on the world.
Okay. All right. I'm down for it. That's homework I can do. And, hey.
It's homework you can do.
Oh. Go. See, I don't even know how to do it because I'm like,
you've never seen that.
Because I've never seen it. So I just know that he says do.
He says do.
Yeah. Do.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a D.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah. All right. We're all right.
And we've only got about 2 minutes, unfortunately, here.
Okay. So,
because we gotta,
you got me.
We haven't even announced the fact that we have a guest.
I know
on
you
the
got
show
me
today.
an early birthday present.
I did, yes. We've got a lovely guest coming on the show today to kick off Stacey's birthday month. He's completely unaware of that, but
details.
Yeah. But we've got our friend Kevin Henry joining us after the break. So do stay with us right here on Don't Ask Me to Talk. Anything else you want to say before we take this quick break?
No, I have homework to do. So send those episodes, and if you have any cultural blind spots that you feel like we need to see, also send us those.
Absolutely, yeah. Asking at don'taskmetotalk.com, or what's the number if they want to text us or leave us a voicemail?
475-999-2726.
Awesome. The continuous struggle continues for us to erase our cultural blind spots.
I love it.
And have fun.
All right. It is a task we're willing to take on.
Absolutely.
All right.
We'll be right back with Kevin Henry, so stay tuned to Don't Ask Me to Talk. This is Eric Ryder reminding you to follow us on Facebook. We're at Don't Ask Me to Talk, and we're on Instagram, again, at Don't Ask Me to Talk. We'd love to hear from you, so check us out on social media and leave us a comment. Leave us a like. Remember, you can always email us directly at asking@don'taskmetotalk.com or leave us a voicemail or text at 475-999-2726. That's 475-999-2726.
Me to talk.
And we're back right here on Don't Ask Me to Talk. I'm Eric Ryder, one of your podcast pals.
I'm Stacey Heller. I'm the other one.
And we are excited today.
So excited. I'm a little, what's the word? I'm feeling not worthy. Because, you got us a guest.
Yes. And we got a great guest. And we very rarely have guests on the show because both of us like to talk.
Yeah, we've got to leave some space. So
That's right. But we thought we'd break it up a little bit this time around and bring in a special guest. We've got Kevin Henry, also known as The Voice. And the reason for that nickname will become self-evident here very shortly when we say hello to Kevin. But Kevin is a great guy I've known for years and years and years. He's been a guest on a lot of the radio shows that I've produced over the years at the station where we record, KKNW, and just been a good friend as well. But he's got an amazing background in journalism, in broadcasting, acting even.
Yeah, I feel like this is why I say, I think he's almost too he's almost too good for us, like employee relations, media, communications, journalism, like the work that he does in the public sector with businesses and then nonprofit work. There's a lot here. This is a storied career.
And he also hosts his own podcast called All the Way Authentic with Kevin P. Henry. Kevin, without further ado, welcome to Don't Ask Me to Talk. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And you got a great view of the 405 out there, too. I love that view.
How do you think he does his traffic?
Exactly. He just kind of looks out there and goes, looks like there's an accident out there.
I can only talk about that short stretch.
Exactly.
It's always backed up.
Well, yeah. So The Voice, that's quite a voice.
Well, thank you. I actually got it from my dad, who's passed away like 20 years ago, but he left me with this voice along with his Ford Escort.
That was one of my first cars as well.
Hey, it lasted until I finally just bit the big one on the I-90 bridge one day.
Oof.
I think I forgot to put oil in it or something.
That's rough.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
Yeah. Luckily, the Ford Escort, a lot cheaper than a regular Escort.
Oh, you didn't tell me it was going to be that kind of show.
Wow.
Kids, cover your ears.
Known for being an inexpensive vehicle, I'll just say, which is why it was one of my first vehicles.
Yes.
Because very inexpensive.
Yes.
So
very hard to get in and out of.
Yes.
If
but if you were
5'9".
driving one at the time, it usually meant that you were pretty, as the British say, skint. So entirely likely that you didn't have the money to replace it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes, I was broke at the time.
Yeah. So that would have been tough.
Yeah, I got through it.
But you bounced back.
I bounced back, and I think I graduated to a Toyota Corona or something. And then I got to a Ford Focus. And the thing about these cars, I think that the problem is that I just forgot about the oil changes because all of those cars just eventually kind of seized up one day and said, "To heck with you, we're done."
Done.
Done, right there in the middle of the street.
And this is why I drive an EV these days. No oil changes.
No, yeah, there you go. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm not so good about that stuff either. My first car was a Honda Civic hatchback, and I had failed out of college. I moved home.
Failed out of college? I mean, not just one course, but the entire thing?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I was academically disqualified.
Wow.
Right? Although I got an A in CPR.
That's important sometimes.
Well, it was because it was my job for the summer was to be a lifeguard.
That would make sense to have that taken care of. Yes.
Yeah. It was a whole thing. It's a conversation for a different podcast where you talk about things like depression and anxiety and things like that. And so I referred to it as academic suicide.
Well, but, sometimes college is overrated, right?
Well, turns out it can be for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I moved back home, I couldn't keep borrowing my parents' car. So we bought a I had to help pay for it, a Honda Civic hatchback.
Mm-hmm.
And it was stick shift, and I didn't know how to drive stick shift.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so I couldn't test the car. So my dad gave me a lesson and was like, see ya. And
wow, that's scary.
it was so scary. Thank you.
Yeah,
It was,
I like automatics all the way.
and I sold it to a Presbyterian minister. And
Mm-hmm.
I was getting married, and I was like, hey, you want to buy my car? And he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold it to him basically for what was left on the loan, but I asked him for $1 so that I could feel like I made a profit.
Yes, very important. Well, Hondas are great. I had a Honda when I lived in Hawaii. I had a Honda, and it was over 200,000 miles, and it got totaled by a motorcyclist who
Ooh.
decided to do something illegal and run into my car. But it probably would have gone for like another 50 or 60,000 miles, I think.
Wow. Okay, who cares about cars? Let's talk about
Yes.
Hawaii.
Hawaii, yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, you lived there for
I
several
lived
years,
there
yeah.
for 5 years, but I'm back here in
Right.
the rain.
What happened?
Well, my wife and I
They
got
had
really
2 tickets to paradise.
two
and
tickets.
then-
Yeah, they were supposed to be
But they-
one way, but they
yeah,
were round trip.
They were round
apparently.
trip, yeah.
Well, my wife and I burned out on the Northwest weather, and part of the problem is that she grew up here, and I'd been here 30 years, and it was like from October to about April, we were like very gloomy and depressed, and we
I
even
don't know what you're
you know-
talking
you know,
about,
we
Kevin.
even tried to buy those lights, the
Yep.
ultraviolet lights. Nothing was working. And so we knew people in Hawaii. And every time we'd go to Hawaii, it was like we didn't want to come back because we're like at the beach in December.
Right.
So we said, let's just move there so we can enjoy this all the time and we don't have to worry about the Northwest weather. Well, then, at a certain point, you start getting, I don't know, claustrophobic or something. You realize I can't really go anywhere. All I can do is go around in a circle. It's not like I can take a road trip anywhere, right?
Right. That's
And
how
s-
I felt when I was in Alaska.
Yeah, you kind of go, well, okay, I'm on a rock in the middle of the ocean. People
Right.
don't come see you because it's not like they can hop in the car and take the kids. And we started missing the grandkids and missing
Yeah.
friends. We said, okay, we'll move back. And when we moved back, just in time for COVID and the lockdown, 2020.
So,
Great timing.
so feeling claustrophobic yet again.
Yeah, exactly. So then I had to stay home and work for the next 3 years.
But you had some fun adventures while you were over there.
Yes, and I think the most fun I had was being an extra on several times actually on Hawaii Five-0 and Magnum PI, and there were even a couple of movies that shot in Hawaii, and then they put out these casting calls.
You were there at a good time for that because, I mean, I don't think those shows exist anymore. But
No.
they had just rebooted Magnum PI and
Right.
just rebooted Hawaii Five-0.
Yes.
So,
Yes. And so, I think I nailed this one niche, I guess, of playing the middle-aged African-American tourist. Because it always seemed like I was like on a aloha shirt, shorts, and carrying like a suitcase or pulling along a roller bag at the airport or crossing a street or running down some stairs or, that kind of thing. So I nailed it.
How'd you get into character?
Well, I did. I'm a method actor. So I slept in my aloha shirt, and I even spilled some Mai Tais on it just to get the
Wow.
get the scent and everything, and so that way I was always in character well before they said roll 'em.
I love that. So you
Yeah.
looked a little haggard and
Yeah,
worse for wear.
a little haggard, a little disoriented. Yeah.
Well done.
but you also played an FBI agent. On
Well,
these
yeah,
shows.
but I mean, a lot of times you spend a whole day out there, and then your part might have been, I don't know, 5 minutes, and then it's down to about 3 seconds. So I'm an FBI agent. They had me jumping out of the car with my gun and the whole thing. They cut that part out, but they did have me walking the perp.
Ooh, the
to
perp
to
walk.
squad car, and he was a sex trafficker.
Oh,
And so I'm walking with him and one of the main characters, and we're walking him down, and he's like mumbling to me, I could break out of these handcuffs anytime I wanted. Shut up. But it was fun. The only problem was I was in all this FBI jacket and all this stuff, and it was about 98 degrees that day. So I think I lost about 10 pounds.
Wow. I guess that could be a perk, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it was great. It was a great experience. I'd love to just go back and visit sometime. But I did get a little redundant at a certain
Right.
point. Like, let's take a drive. Why? We've seen everything several
Yes.
times now.
Now, I assume that with anytime they give you a costume, they also give you a paycheck, right?
Yeah, they give you a little pay, and it really,
Yeah.
it varies. I mean, sometimes you might spend a whole day and get $150. Sometimes it was $500 or $600. It kind of depended on the budget, and it kind of depended. They had it kind of broken down into, okay, you're in a crowd scene, like you're one of 50 people, well, you're probably just going to get a lunch and $100 or something. Now, if you're like what they consider a featured extra, where they've narrowed it down to 7 or 8, 9 people, then it tends to go up. You could go up several $100s. And it's interesting because we were non-union, but I think they had to make you union if you uttered more than 4 words or something. So if you said, "Stop, what are you doing?" Oh, you get a bump up, you get your SAG card now.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so are you part of SAG?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
They never gave me more than a couple. I improvised the whole scene once, and they cut the whole thing out. And all they do is show about 2 seconds of me arguing with somebody. I was a sleazy pawn shop owner saying, I know nothing about what just happened.
Interesting. Well, and what a shame, because the voice.
Well, that's why I had to come back. I think it's destiny that I came back here anyway because of several reasons. I'm working a lot more, and everything is, except for the weather, that still sucks. That's about the only thing. And
we're just coming off one of the most gorgeous weekends
but wait
had.
a minute. See, that's what happens is that it's very, very traumatic because then you get excited. You get 2 days of 2 nice days in a row. You get excited, and then boom, pouring down rain the next morning.
I equate the weather around here to what I imagine playing golf is like. Like it's basically crappy, right?
Yes.
And you're like frustrated. Then you get an amazing shot and you're like, oh, I got this.
Right.
And you're in it for another bunch of holes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like it's a similar vibe.
It's very traumatic.
I guess it all depends on your taste.
Well, yeah. I mean, some people love the rain. They love the rain, the cold. I mean, but as soon as I come out of the house, everything's wet. It's like the door's wet, the car's cold, the car's wet. I mean, everything is like wet. I always feel like I'm in a cave somewhere.
I'm starting to think this is maybe a little bit you. I'm not that wet all the time. Maybe I don't go out enough.
Well, it also depends on if you have a garage or not. See, if you have a garage and your car's not that cold, but we don't have a garage. So we're out on the street or the carport, and then you got to scrape the ice, and then the windows are all fogged up. And so it's just... You two live in mansions.
In mansions.
And you probably have somebody drive the car out for you.
My name is Elmer J. Fudd. I own a mansion and a yacht.
Well, see, I knew that. I figured that.
I am looking for a new driver, Kevin.
Are you?
If you're interested.
But if Morgan Freeman's still around, he did a good job in that one movie.
Oh, yeah, driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah, driving Mr. Eric.
You can call me Miss Daisy if you want. But Kevin, your early days, you've mentioned a few times talking to you over the years that you used to do music journalism.
Right. I was very lucky. Way back in the 1980s, I was in college and I needed a job. I always was attracted to journalism, but I didn't know that was what I wanted to do. So I needed a job. And this woman at the college where I went said, hey, they're looking for copy people at the Los Angeles Daily News. And I said, oh, okay, well, I need a job. And so copy people, that's the bottom. You come in, you're emptying the garbage, you're pulling the AP, UPI wire, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And making coffee, running around, doing errands. And then all of a sudden I'm doing, hey, we need somebody to do obituaries. Oh, we need somebody to do the weather report. Oh, we need somebody to get in your car and go cover that fire, that building that's on fire. And then one day the rock critic runs down the stairs and he looks at me. I'm sitting there drinking coffee or whatever. He says, can you do a music review? Yeah. And I went, sure.
Yes.
So I went and my first review was Coco Taylor. I don't know if you ever heard of Coco Taylor, the blues artist. And this was before the internet. So I had to go to the library. Who the heck is Coco Taylor?
Right.
She's a very famous.
Dial up the microfiche. And
exactly. And then I just started getting all these music reviews and I became like the rhythm and blues music reviewer, and I was interviewing people I never thought I'd meet: Ray Charles, Luther Vandross, James Brown, Earth, Wind and Fire, Patti LaBelle. I mean, these are people that I would listen to their records.
Sure. Yeah, all legends.
Yeah, and I'm still in college, and I'm sitting there interviewing them.
Do you have, does any story come to mind of a meeting with one of these legends that something wacky happened? Or,
Well, I don't know how wacky it is, but when I interviewed James Brown, and unfortunately the only clips my mom saved, thank God, was like Patti LaBelle and Ray Charles. She saved those clips. She has to cut them out. They're all yellowed now. But he told me that I was a fine young. Well, actually, you're a fine young man. You got to talk like this. He said, but if you really want the ladies, you got to do your hair like the Godfather. So he started, I got to dress like him. I got to do my hair like him, and I would get all the ladies. So that was
you
one
get
thing.
a guy to bring you your cape.
Yeah, and all I need is a cape,
And
and
then
the
you
whole
just
thing.
jump back and kiss yourself.
And so that was kind of interesting. Patti LaBelle was great because she said, hey, before we do the interview, let's sit down. I ordered a bottle of wine, and let's sit here and drink this bottle of wine first. So that was kind of cool.
Now, was that before or after her new attitude?
New attitude. I think it was around that time.
But maybe the bottle of the wine was the cause for the
Well,
new
no, she
attitude.
had been in a movie called, I think it was Soldier Story or something. So, and a lot of times when the publicist called, it was because the artist was doing something like, oh, they have a new record coming out. Or in her case, she had a bunch of records, but this was her acting debut. So we kind of talked a little bit about that. And of course we talked about, but it was around 1984, I think.
But what's cool is that, as a college student, like you're hungry for information
Right.
and it doesn't occur to you to not ask.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think if you're an older, more seasoned journalist, you probably are aware of the different pressures of publicists and what's right to say and what you should ask and what you shouldn't. But I would imagine that as a college kid that's like, sure, I'll do it. Like, great. You're like, why not? I'm just going to ask.
And I was very lucky. They all were very, very. Everybody I interviewed was always very nice. There were a few exceptions, and I got the impression that it wasn't so much me. It was like they just didn't want to do the interview.
Yeah.
So they're kind of grumpy. But other than that, I did interview someone named Vanity once, who passed away, unfortunately. Vanity from this group called Vanity Six.
Right? Yeah, they were Prince
I was
prodigies.
Yes.
just going to say, wasn't Vanity a Prince?
Yes.
Yep.
That was the most distracting interview.
Oh, because the outfits?
Well, but she was a beautiful woman, and
Right.
but she wasn't doing the whole nasty girl thing. It was like she just had the flowing gown and the long hair, and it was
wow.
like something out of a movie because that's the nasty girl thing was a persona.
Right.
So when she opened the door, I kind of expected the nasty girl. I was okay, the nasty girl, got it.
Right.
But here's this beautiful young
Yeah,
woman.
your hair done like James Brown.
Well, yeah, I had my
Ready to
hair
go.
done like and she says, hi. And I'm blah, 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 blah. I'm glad I wrote my questions down because
Right.
I was forgetting
Suddenly
everything
the
I wanted
voice is like, hi.
to ask.
Getting a little verklempt.
Anyway, she was great.
Awesome. Well, it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Before we go to break here, you've got the podcast All the Way Authentic with Kevin P. Henry. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, and you can go to kevinphenry.com. We are reloading the podcast up on Apple and Spotify and all that at the moment. So just go to kevinphenry.com. All the Way Authentic is the title, and I really like the title because it's really about being your authentic self. I interview a lot of people who have made transitions like, oh, I was a real estate agent. Now I want to be a cop. How did that happen? It's about truth. It's about people saying, hey, I was doing this before, but now I'm really destined to do this. And talking about that journey of how they got there. Because I really appreciate a good story. And I think too many people are influenced and distracted or away from their dreams because, I became a nurse because my parents always wanted me to be a nurse.
Right.
I interviewed a cousin of mine who was an IT professional. He always wanted to be a stand-up comic. Everybody said, are you crazy? That's nuts. Don't you do that. We didn't send you to school to do that. That's what his parents said. And he's now a very successful stand-up comic. So, and he worked for TSA, got fired from TSA because he had to take a regular job because
You can't make jokes there.
because that's what he was doing. He was on YouTube making fun of TSA.
Right.
And his boss saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those kinds of
get you
stories,
dismissed.
all the way authentic.
Oh, I love that.
Awesome. Well, check it out. It's All the Way Authentic. Kevin, are you able to hang around and join us to talk about this week's topic?
Absolutely.
And for folks that don't remember last week's episode, the Wheel O Topics selected dress codes as our topic. So we'll find out more about that when we come back from the break. So everybody stay with us right here on Don't Ask Me to Talk.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Stacey Heller. I'm one of your podcast pals, along with Eric Ryder from Don't Ask Me to Talk. Are you liking what you're listening to? Awesome. We would love if you would follow us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram as Don't Ask Me to Talk. We also are wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can follow us, subscribe, like, rate, whatever it is that you do. You can also email us. That's asking@don'taskmetotalk.com. And if you'd like, text or leave us a voicemail at 475-999-2726. Basically, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.
All right, we are back right here on Don't Ask Me to Talk. I'm Eric Ryder.
Hey, I'm Stacey Heller, and we have a guest. Remember?
Our special guest, Kevin P. Henry, is sticking with us to talk about today's topic that the Wheel O Topic randomly selected for us. And Stacey, every week I like to touch base with you and find out what inspired this topic being added to the Wheel O Topics to begin with.
This was because my mother... Love her.
She inspires so much in your life.
She inspires so much. She announced that she wants to have a dress code at her funeral. And she wants the dress code. She thinks that the men should wear blazers, sport coats. She's old school and whatever. And
I think that's fair, but enforcement might be tough.
Well, right. She's not going to be there. And I said, so are you just going to spend like your first, I don't know, few days or whatever in the afterlife sitting and waiting to see what people wear and judging us? And she was like, yes, I am. I'm like, okay, so enlightenment's going to be delayed for her.
She's going to get a job as a bouncer at the pearly gates.
Yes. So it was just an interesting thing about dress codes, and I had then a conversation with her that led to talking about dress codes. And when I went to school, I went to parochial school where you had to wear certain things.
Yeah.
And then I went to a private school when I was in high school where we had a dress code, no jeans. And then it just got me thinking about dress codes in work environments and really everywhere. And what do they mean? Do they create, in schools, do they sort of even the playing field for students at work, that kind of thing? So that's where the inspiration came from.
Interesting. Now, I never had a dress code in school. We went to public schools. I take that back. There is a dress code for public schools. There are certain things that they'll say, no, you can't wear that. You're going to have to turn that inside out or whatever,
Right.
Or you're going to have to go home and change. But for the most part, you're not wearing a uniform, essentially, with a public school. And with the places that I've worked at, it's always been, business casual, essentially. I mean, actually, my first job, Kinney Shoes as a stock boy, no dress code. But when they moved me out to do sales in the front, I had to wear a tie and a jacket. So suddenly there was a dress code. But then the next job, I was working as a dishwasher at a pizza place. So again, back to no dress code. So I think it all depends kind of on the organization that you're working with or the type of school that you're going to. But in school, I actually even thought then that a dress code or a school uniform would be a good idea, because I think that taking that what do I wear tomorrow, or do these clothes seem cool enough, or are the kids going to make fun of me? All that stuff just suddenly goes away if you're wearing a uniform.
They do, and I would say they don't.
Oh, yeah?
You're right about the decision-making process. You don't have to think about what you're going to wear. It's some variation of, for me, going to parochial school, it was a yellow shirt and, the tartan plaid skirt.
Right.
And, whatever. But the thing is,
and kids get creative.
Well, that's what I was just about to
with
say.
those, trying to
the cool girls
customize them,
were rolling up the the waistband so that the skirt was a little shorter, and they'd put like, this was of course like the 80s, they would stick their comb in their like knee socks and so that they could comb their hair, and like how tight they wore their blouses and things like that. So there is some autonomy, but it's like it still felt very much like, oh, I'm just wearing my uniform and like I'm doing my thing. Like people find a way to kind of
But I mean, there's a huge difference there, I think, than if, kids are like, oh, you're wearing Toughskins. I've got Jordache jeans. You know what I mean? It's like, clearly you're poor. You're
Yes.
poor. That makes a huge difference in how you get picked on as a kid, I think.
Yes, I do.
Where the
think-
uniform takes that out of the play.
I do think that is a huge factor, and it's something that I think can be beneficial where, it does even the playing field a bit, but still, like, you're talk about sneakers. I mean, like right there, unless you have like school issued shoes, that's going to still create a problem.
Right.
You're nodding along, Kevin. What do you think about all this?
Yeah.
Well-
First of all, did you go to a school where you had to wear a uniform, or
No.
was it, public schools?
Well, no, I went to a public school, and as you were talking, I was thinking about what era are we talking about? Because when I was going to schools in the 70s, and it was right...
Toughskins era.
The women's liberation movement was taken off, and so our kids in high school especially were actively rebelling against the dress code
Sure.
about skirts that could only be so far above the knee and that kind of thing.
Fingertip
So
length.
they were testing it, and people were getting sent home because some of the women, let's just say they didn't put on all their underwear sometimes when they left the house. So that was that was when the hippies were really in. But I think that the thing about even with uniforms, though, if kids have low self-esteem or there's kids that pick on other kids, they'll still find something to pick on. So even though you're dressed alike, they'll still like make fun of somebody's body shape or they'll
Right.
make fun of somebody's nose. I got called Four Eyes a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that uniform, I agree with you to a certain point, Eric, in that the uniform does kind of unify everybody in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
However, I also grew up in an era when individual expression was so important.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that individual expression is important, and I wouldn't want to suppress any of that. But I do like the idea that maybe taking it away from it being, the clothes and that being so important allows kids to put their energy and their expression and their artistic expression into more creative outlets. You know
I
what
have
I mean?
an idea. If you had like a school where there was uniforms, but maybe have one day a month when you could wear whatever you wanted.
So
I think
in high
they probably
school,
have something like that. It would be like a casual Friday kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
well, and that's in high school, we did a thing because we weren't allowed to wear jeans. What we did is you could buy in, and for $1, or whatever it was, you could buy in so that you could wear jeans or do something like that, and then the money went to charity.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was, whatever I think it was typically like the senior class was, doing it or whatever year was doing it, and you could buy in, and they had figured out some charity was probably prom, honestly. I don't know. But something like that where
So there's
you,
kids that are like, I can't afford to be casual.
What a dilemma.
well, it's a thing. And, and then dress codes within the workplace, that's something that like I have to wear a certain look when I'm working at the restaurant because I'm the face that's greeting, but I also have to differentiate myself from servers so that, people understand. So there's always dynamics then when you go into the workplace.
Well, I think there's a certain level of credibility that I think businesses, they want you to wear a certain attire because as customers come in, they have certain expectations. So like if I go into a bank, I expect they don't have to be all dressed up, but if I see a bank teller, with a T-shirt and jeans, I'm going to go, I don't think I want to bank here.
Right.
Because they're not professional. They're not dressed in a professional manner. And I
Right.
think that you have to be able to adjust depending on where you work.
I think it's totally fair. Yeah, I don't think that they're meant to limit people as much. I think dress codes ideally are meant to be educating so that you're sort of dressing for the job that you want.
Right.
And, so that you can be of service in whatever environment you're in and not distracting.
Yeah. Well said, guys. Unfortunately, we are out of time.
Oh,
my gosh.
I think we've solved this one.
Yeah, totally. Just yet another topic that we have finished.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Obviously, so much more could be said on this topic. We didn't even dive at all into the controversial aspects,
Totally.
like hair and stuff like that are part of cultural representation. I mean, that may be a little bit thorny for the kind of fluffy conversations that we have on this show, but
Totally.
yeah.
But Kevin that's some of the work that he does. So,
Absolutely,
go
yeah.
check out his website, as we mentioned.
Yeah, it's kevinphenry.com, I believe. So,
Yep.
Yep.
And, I think we could go in so many different directions. But you're right. We're all about fluff. Fluff. So, fluff and tangents. Maybe that's maybe
we
that's
should
our new
change the
names.
name, yeah. Fluff
Fluff
and
and
tangents.
tangents.
That sounds like a snack, actually.
Yeah, or like a
Went down to the 7-Eleven, got a pack of Fluff and Tangents because, ooh,
man,
sometimes you just get that craving.
a little sweet, a little salty.
That's right.
All right.
It is that time, though,
Let's do it.
We got to find out what we're fluffing and tangenting about next week.
Here we go.
Oh, okay. This will be fun. Won't be fun to do, but it'll be fun to talk about.
Okay.
Because it's the worst chore.
Okay. Yeah, I have. Yes. Yep.
And normally I'd try and get a little sneak preview on the inside on that topic, but
we don't have time.
well, not just that, but I feel like it may be one of the more self-explanatory ones that is on the wheel.
Well, yeah. Who likes a chore?
Right. And especially the worst one.
Exactly. So, all right. So let's talk about that next week. Thank you again to our guest, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. We'll love to have you back again sometime.
Yeah, and we won't cut you off so quickly.
No, we won't.
Have a good week, everyone.
Thank you to all our listeners. We love you. We'll talk to you next time.